Respected speaker of the day, Mr. Prakash Sarda, country head eGalactic, Ms. Preeti Rathi, Director Sir Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, our librarian Ms. Lalita Tyagi, and all respected faculty members and students. Our today's session is based on what is plagiarism and how it can be avoided. Utkant is a digital, fully automated machine learning text recognition system to detect, handle, and prevent flag checker. In India, it is one of the best preventive tools to maintain the authenticity of the content. I would like to introduce our respected speaker, Mr. Prakash Sarda, who is an electrical engineer who did his post graduation in finance and marketing. He has cross cultural function experience across multiple industries and functions, has great understanding of higher education market, automobile industry with focus on emission and software development. He has also a corporate experience of more than 12 years and functional expertise in areas of strategy, sales, business development, finance, administration, and general management. I would also like to welcome Ms. Preeti Rathi, who has completed her BCA from Birla Institute of Technology, MBA from Symbiosis, B.Ed from Ravi Kishan Shukla University, Raipur. She has vast experience in training, teaching, and introduction of plagiarism tools in universities and institutes. She has been a training for flag checker for 4 years and has done more than 300 training across 400 universities and institutions. We welcome you, sir and ma'am, and we really look forward for an engaging and informative session. I would request Director Sir to welcome our guest speaker and begin the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Kanika, uh, for introducing our guest, for welcoming the participants, faculty and students. Okay, I also, on my behalf, at the outset, let me thank Prakash ji and the team, eGalactic. Prakash ji and Preeti ji, thank you so much for being here with us today on board and on a very, very important and pertinent discussion on a pertinent issues, okay, which normally as a fraternity of faculty and students we do ignore. But this, let me tell you, from the research side, from the the integrity of the content, integrity of the research. I think this particular session it's considered to be highly pertinent for our students and faculty. I would also like to thank Dr. Santosh and Ms. Lalita for arranging this session because this was much awaited. Let me tell you, I was discussing with Ms. Lalita 2 days back that we have a plagiarism software with us, but the students and faculty needs to understand the integrities of this software, where and how this has to be utilized, this has to be used. My dear students, let me tell you, you should not take this particular session as a guest lecture or a seminar or a kind of a one-way communication. Rather, you should interact with the expert speaker. This needs to be a kind of hands-on for all of you, that you need to understand what is the importance of this plagiarism software, where it should be used, how it has to be utilized. I remember a few days back, I was discussing with Lalita to go for the plagiarism test of the social intensive projects which our students had gone for. So what surprisingly I found, I mean, I do not have to blame our students because this may be because of the ignorance many a times, that most of the students, they have copied from each other. Right, my dear students, let me tell you, gone are those days when nobody was watching you, nobody was reading your contents, nobody was able to find out, the level of the percentage of copy paste, copy cut and paste of the contents of the materials. But these days, people are very cautious. People are watching you. Everything is are there on the tips. Even almost all our higher education authorities, starting from UGC, AICT, students, let me tell you, gone are those days when nobody was watching you, nobody was reading all the higher education, nobody was able to find out are very level of, they are very practical. There are very causes for the faculty students, whether they are the postgraduate students, they are the research students, that only one concern, that how you should be highly honest while you prepare any kind of materials, writing contents, whether it is research material, whether it is any kind of subject-oriented materials, any kind of term projects, dissertation, summer internship projects, how much, you know, the your own content is there inside this particular write-up. Okay, the originality we need to find out how original you are in your writing part. This is very, very important. Unless until you are original, I mean, this is common practice, we all follow that. We have a kind of, intuition all the times. We have a practice that we do copy, we do take things from other materials, printed materials, already published materials, but we also need to know how to utilize them. Okay, like in case of references also, we do have to be very, very practical, very, very, pertinent. When we take some material from others published sources, we need to know how to publicize it, how to rewrite it by having a double quote, having inverted comma, by giving references, by giving the cross references. If you do not give, the acknowledgement, the cross references or the references, this content is going to be considered as a kind of, it's as similar as the theft. I mean, you are taking something without the permission from the original content writer, right? Now, this particular session today, which we are organizing for all of you, is going to help you when you are going to write your summer internship project and you are going to write your dissertation project, and how originality, what is the percentage of originality in content you are going to bring in your own dissertation, in your own project. Even you are going for a small term project, there also you need to be very, very particular that whatever you are copying from others, whatever you are taking from others, need to be rewritten in a way that somebody should not blame you, or somebody should not make a question mark on you that you have not taken care of the proper acknowledgement, proper references, right? So not taking much time, I'm sure Prakashji and Preetiji would be able to convince you, would be able to make you to understand, okay, how this particular software I mean, is going to be used to make you understand what is the level of my original content and what is the content which I have taken it from others, okay, and how this has to be converted to my original. So not taking much time. So once again, I also would like to thank all my dear students, those who are here today. Be inquisitive, be attentive, and be interactive with the resource persons today, and I'm sure you are going to get a lot of things from today's session. Thank you so much once again, Prakashji and Preetiji, and I'm sure Lalita and Dr. Santosh are going to moderate well. You can take some questions at the end from the students if required. Then we'll go with the session. So thank you so much, and I welcome you once again to the board.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Kanika, I think we should now start with the session by Prakashji.
Yes, sir.
So,
Prakashji, over to you, please.
Over to you, Prakash, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving a very nice summary and covering almost everything I think that we are going to cover. I think in a nutshell, you have almost covered all that we intend to talk about today. I would like to once again extend our appreciation and thanks, sir, for one is sparing your time for this important topic, and second is also for basically realizing and putting it forth that it is an important topic that needs to be addressed. So before we get into the session, actually, I just wanted to share a brief story how it started. The concept of addressing plagiarism in India, at least for eGalactic, started way back when I was doing my MBA. And obviously, like as you all, most of the students must be doing, it hardly used to take maybe an hour or maybe an hour and a half complete a project. But then I had my friend who was spending 4 nights working entire night just to complete his project, and I was just wondering what he'll be doing. So he said, I'm doing a project work, and He was doing it obviously for his friend who's based out in US, and he was doing original work. So I said, why don't you copy it from here and there and just finish it? He said, because it is checked for originality, he needs to do his work. And that's where the entire thought came, that why do we need not get this system in India and introduce in India? And I'm going to talk a lot more about what is plagiarism and why it is important to address, and how as students you shall be able to address it. Before that, I'd like to extend my warm appreciation for and thanks to the Institute, the director sir, Santosh sir and Vileta madam, for having this session conducted. I would also like to thank Kanika for the warm introduction that you have given us. So let's start with the session now. And so what is an assignment? Basically, it's a task or a piece of work which is allocated to someone as a part of a job or a course or a study. Now the question is that if assignment is this, does our assignment stay meaningful if we do not follow academic integrity and if we do not do it in the right way? So we need to ensure that we add meaning to assignment, and that can be done if we start doing assignment originally. So we are going to talk to you about plagiarism. My colleagues will have certain poll questions given intermittently between that. Please feel free to answer to that. You can be very honest. We don't want any biased opinion from your end. We are not going to share the results of this, so you can give your honest opinion. So before we start, some food for thoughts, actually, just something to think about. So there was a time when we used to eat food based on body requirements. What body needs, what nutrients needs are needed by the body. So that is what drive what we used to eat, or it was the availability. Now there is so much of influence now that it is either taste or convenience that drives what we eat, right? Similarly, let's come to another topic. When was it that you had last submitted an assignment which was greater than 1 page? Just think about it. Think about how much of it did you copy actually, which means that you didn't write on your own, you copied from somewhere else. Think about how much you actually copied and you edited it. The first part was only what you just copied and pasted. Second part was how much you pasted and then edited. The third part, and probably the least part, is how much actually you did write on your own. But that is not hello. So, but that is not important. I think the most important question is how much did you learn, right? So because you ended up copying and pasting, did you actually learn what you were supposed to learn? Now just imagine if you had completed the complete assignment yourself by actually writing on your own, not by copying, editing, or just taking it from someone else. So it's not a favor that you're going to do to the faculty, okay? I mean, the first thought is obviously, as students, what we have is that, oh, we are doing a favor to the faculty. It's not a favor to a faculty, it's a favor to yourself, because you will end up learning more. If you look at, I just wanted to share something about SpaceX with you. It was one man's vision, 1,000 hands at work, and the commitment, and that one man's vision actually brought so much change into the entire space thing. The same way we believe plagiarism is something, if we are able to address in higher education, we will be able to bring a humongous improvement in the quality of education and the learning for students. So as eGalactic, we are proud to be in the education sector for last 13 years, and our goal is to assist faculties and institutes to improve quality of education. And we have presence across 1,500 plus universities and institutes in India. We also provide simulation games in areas of marketing and strategy, which is used by most of the management institutes in India. We are proud to be associated with Ministry of Education and provide plagiarism detection system to all the universities and institutes in India through a centrally funded program. The Origin today is being used by more than 5,000 plus customers in 80 plus countries globally, and it can be integrated with 40 different learning management systems. So what I am going to talk over the next 30 minutes to you is what is plagiarism and a brief about UGC policy on plagiarism. So why do we need to address plagiarism? If you look at Indian higher education today, we have roughly around 4 crore people, which is roughly around 20% of the entire world higher education. It's a huge mass. Just imagine if we are able to improve the quality of this particular mass of people. What is the kind of workforce that we'll be able to create, and what is the kind of difference that we can make to each of us as individuals and to the country in total? So why it is important to address plagiarism? If you look at, this is a little dated study, but on one side, on the y-axis, we have basically percentage of students who are able to meet minimum threshold, and on the x-axis, we have percentage of students who are able to meet advanced threshold. And if we look here on both these axes, on the minimum threshold, we still have a good percentage. On the advanced threshold, we are at a very bottom. But in both these axes, we have a huge scope of improvement. And so we have a long distance to travel, and we believe by addressing plagiarism, it can help us significantly move in both these axes in the further north. So what's plagiarism? So plagiarism is copying and pasting, right? But it's not just about copying and pasting. It's also about when you copy and paste and you say that it is your own. If you copy and paste and if you give credit to the person from whom you have copied, it's not plagiarism. When you copy something and don't give acknowledgement, then it becomes plagiarism. There are different types of plagiarism, and I'm not going to get into details of each of these types of plagiarism, but I mean, for most of the students, it's irrelevant. But the reason that you need to know a little bit about it so that you just become aware what's the kind of plagiarism that you're doing and how can you avoid that. The most common type of plagiarism is copy and paste, where you basically end up either taking someone else's work and just copy and paste it, or you copy and paste from different sources. Then we have translations, when you copy from different language and translate into a different language. Then we have disguised plagiarism, where basically you've copied part of it and you have pasted at different places. Then you have shake and paste collections, where basically you try to get from different sources, bring it together, jumble it up here and there. Then you have clause quills, where basically what you do is you paraphrase part of it and leave the part of it as is, and you say there's a plagiarism there. Then you have structural plagiarism, where basically you end up copying the entire structure and content. Then you have a pawn sacrifice, where essentially if you have copied a large portion of the text, a small portion of it something is that you give the reference to, and a larger portion of something is what you don't give reference to. And cut and slide is when you copy certain part of it and put it here and there. And lastly and most importantly is self-plagiarism, where you end up copying your own work. So this is from a book of False Feathers, which is a book by Weber, which is a perspective on academic plagiarism, and it kind of explains plagiarism in detail. Now, understanding this is a little important both for faculty members, so that you can basically try to understand why the students are plagiarizing and try to address. See, our intent here is basically how do we bring original content on the table, right? Now, why it's important to address plagiarism? One is obviously when students end up plagiarizing, or when any individual ends up plagiarizing, the knowledge or the skills that is required to be imparted does not get imparted. Why do I need to even do a project work on an assignment if I have to just copy and paste for it? Is marks that relevant actually? And does marks actually help me? I mean, when we have to go out for a placement, it's the interview process, right? The interview process is all about what we have learned. So marks, I mean, obviously marks are important. We need to meet our academic criteria and do well. But marks is not the sole intent why we are there in MBA Institute, right? We are there to learn. Now, if we do not end up doing our own work, we will not learn. So it's not, I mean, it's important that we do our own work. And we need to prevent plagiarism. So one is obviously we want to develop students to come up with original thoughts and ideas. We don't want the students to, I mean, we want students to be creative, right? So that, and then we want them to enhance their learning. The entire purpose of being in the MBA should get served. And lastly, it's important for students to actually understand, or even every individual to exactly understand and give credit to the person who has done the work. Because when he learns to give credit right from his school or bachelor's or higher education, when he gets into a corporate world or when he gets to start working, it becomes a culture or a habit to give credit to the person for the work that he has done. Now, working together as teams becomes very important if you want to be successful in your life. And one of the most important things to do that is to give credit to the person for the work that he is doing. Only then you can be a good team player, you can become a good leader, or you can become a good individual contributor also. So addressing plagiarism has become more important because it has become very easy now to copy and paste. I mean, there was a time when you were having hard copy submission. At least even if a student is copying and pasting, he was forced to read. When he's reading, some thoughts will come in his mind and he was forced to write. So in that process, at least reading and writing, two things are happening, right? Even if he's not thinking anything. But now when you have a soft copy submission, it becomes very easy to copy and paste. I mean, students won't even read the entire para. They'll read the first line, they'll write the para, they'll copy the entire thing and just submit it. Or they'll take it from a student and submit it and just change the words, cut, paste, slide here and there, and then submit it. But then internet and tools like Original makes it very easy to find also. And hence, it becomes important. Now, let us not assume that, as directors are also very rightly said, let us not assume that students want to plagiarize. I mean, one of the main reasons why plagiarism exists is because the assumption that it is okay to copy and paste, right? Students believe it's perfectly fine. Second is they do not have enough subject understanding. So they don't know the topic well enough. They have not put in enough effort to understand the topic. So they end up copying and pasting because they have no other source to it. A lot of times students plagiarize because they want to get better grades. They are not confident about themselves. They do not have adequate writing skills. A lot of people have primary medium of education as not English. And hence they do not have adequate writing skills either because of language or even because they are not able to express themselves very well. All through their childhood, they have not even gone ahead and written one page on their own. So it's very difficult to expect them to be able to write a project report of 20 pages on their own. And there's a lack of planning skills.
The video
The institutes. The students will basically.
Could you please mute yourself, students.
Then there is unwillingness or lack of motivation for the students to work. And lastly, and most importantly, lack of confidence. Now we need to understand this as a faculty why it's happening, and hence try to address the root cause and help students to ensure that they don't plagiarize. For students or any individual, how can you avoid plagiarism? Now, simple and most efficient ways. The first step is you need to decide to do your own work. I mean, you have to decide. You have come here to add value to yourself to learn. So you'll not end up copying and submitting someone else's work or just copying from somewhere else. You need to plan your time so that you decide to give enough time to write your project. You need to invest in the topic, and you need to invest in the topic means that you need to essentially ensure that you have spent enough time in learning about that. You should know how to quote sources and rightly do that. You should use citations rightly, and there are different styles of citation available. You should add references as and where required. Now, if you're citing your own material, then also you should provide right references. You should also know what not to cite. See, when you are reading on a topic, there will be a lot of different content that you will come across. Now, everything is not something that you have read is something that influences your work. I mean, it may just influence, but you're not taking content from there. It may give you new thoughts and ideas, right? So knowing what not to cite is also equally important. And then you need to know how to paraphrase. Even if you are expressing someone else's thoughts, if you have to express it in your own words, how do you do that? And then you should know how to write the bibliography. So these are some of the ways how you can avoid plagiarism. But firstly and most importantly is deciding to do your own work. It's well begun is half done, right? So the moment you decide you have to do your own work, other things will start falling in place. Now, when we say that basically plagiarism need to be addressed, we don't believe the students should be given the access to check plagiarism on their own. And there is a specific reason why we say that. Because as a student or as an individual, if I'm creating a project or if I'm creating a report, I will know somewhere between 10 to 20% or 20 to 40% based on how much I have copied. I will know how much of my work is original, how much is copied. I may not know exactly whether 15.5% is copied or not. And that is not very important also. Now what happens in a typical project, let's say a project was given to the students, although most of them will not start working, and I'm talking about average, I'm not talking about a particular individual or the brighter, I mean the ones who are most prompt and the ones who are least prompt, just on an average. Most of them will not start their work till half the time is gone. Or some will just start at the very beginning and then stop working. And then as you get closer to the submission, you start doing your work, right? Now the last few days are the most productive period. Now, if we allow students to check their own work, what they will do is just before the most productive period, they will start thinking about plagiarism, they will start thinking about percentage, and then if we allow them to check their work on their own, they will spend the entire time after checking the percentage, how do they comply with the regulatory requirement of being below the threshold. So they will start modifying the content, they'll start copying, pasting, they'll start cutting the content. So we don't want that. That's why we suggest that the students should not be allowed to check their own work. They should be asked to make their submission because they will know what they've copied. You should set a very clear expectation of what is acceptable, what is not, what percentage of content is acceptable. And if they have to copy, even if they have to copy and paste, they should adequately use quotes and references. So that the entire and the most productive period is focused only on improving the quality of the content and not just looking at a percentage. But for students, what is also most important is you need to decide to write on your own. The moment you have decided that you need to write on your own, you will automatically start working from day one, because by the time you need to reach the day 6, you have to start to write. In fact, that is also very late if you have to write on your own. Just imagine if you have to write a 20-page project report on your own. Will you ever have the courage to start working at the 9th hour or the 11th hour? Never, right? You will start thinking right from day one, what are my different topics, how many pages I need to write, what will be the length of each of these topics, how much do I need to write on each of these topics, and then what do I need to do, how much do I need to read, what research I am required to do, how do I express myself. See what happens, and as students you must have experienced this, that you end up doing your work at the last moment, right? And when you're preparing your presentation just before you make it present to the class, or when you're writing an assignment just before you have to submit it, you start getting a lot of original thoughts and ideas. You get new ideas, but then you junk that ideas aside because you don't have time. You say, यार अब ये तो बाद में देखेंगे, अभी तो time ही नहीं बचा है कुछ करने के लिए. So even though you can learn more, you don't learn more because you don't have time only to learn. So imagine if you had pulled all these activities 5 days earlier or right at the middle of the project, you will have so much time to think, discuss, talk, learn from your colleagues, from your faculties. You will get so much of thoughts and ideas. Just think about when you did your last summer report, and now that when you will do your final project report, think about how you did your summers. And just imagine this time you decide that in your final project you will do it on your own. And just imagine how much time, more time and effort you will spend in learning, and what is the kind of learning or benefit that you can get from doing the exercise yourself. So why, and for faculties, it's very important to understand why students copy. So see, one thing what we also understand is all through our, if we take a kid, for example, if we take a nursery or a pre-primary student or a KG student or even class 1 student, and we ask him a question, he will give an answer. If we ask him the same question again, he will give a similar answer, but not the same answer because he can't mug up things. He understands things and he expresses it in his own words. But all through their primary, secondary, and higher education, we create an expectation where we want students to express answers which starts from a particular page, particular para, particular line to a particular page, particular para, particular line. So we've created this expectation, and suddenly when they get to bachelor's, master's, and PhD, we want them to be original. We want them to be able to write 40 or 100 pages on their own. So it's not very fair being very fair to the students. So that's why we believe that when students enter their higher education, when they are into their bachelor courses, the very first assignment that they submit should be run through a plagiarism detection system. We should tell them what is acceptable, what is not acceptable, so that they prepare themselves and they are ready for the higher education and start doing their original work. Now, why we are saying higher education? See, globally it is being done at secondary and higher secondary schools also in Europe and US. But as in India, we are saying higher education, two reasons. One is obviously as a company we are focused on higher education. Second, also because the availability of laptop and digital submission is more in higher education in the bachelor courses than anywhere else. But then any time that we start is good enough is what we believe. Now, addressing plagiarism is obviously difficult. It needs a lot of effort. It needs practice. Most of the students, I'm quite sure, will fall on the right side, where easy, just do it, relax, why do we need to do it? So they end up plagiarizing. But obviously, one who chooses the difficult path will get to learn more. So what is addressing plagiarism all about? Addressing plagiarism is about awareness, understanding, right? What is plagiarism? And this session probably would help you in that. And I think the director sir gave a very good summary, where he covered almost everything about plagiarism in a brief 5 minutes talk, right? It's also about detection. It's about having a plagiarism detection tool, so that after we have created the awareness, we are able to detect plagiarism. It's about penalty, right? Students do need, student or individual, everyone needs some kind of a characteristic approach, right? So there should be penalty for people who are not doing their original work. And the penalty can be form of that the assignment is not accepted, or you do not give marks for assignment when a plagiarism is beyond a certain threshold. And why we do not want to specify a particular percentage, because it will vary from topic to topic. So for example, if I want my students to do a research on what is happening in competitive strategy in the last 5 years, obviously students will end up copying from different sources, because I want them to do a historical work. But let's say if I want them to do a paper on what is going to be the impact on basically privacy policies on how marketing is going to happen in future. Obviously, it's very futuristic and it should not have a lot of copy and paste. So based on the topic that I'm giving to the student, the percentage may change. But then we need to tell it very clearly to the students what is acceptable and what is not. And we need to ensure we give the penalty. We have penalty. If they do not complete, if they do not do it their own work, we don't just accept it and let them do their work repetitively and come back when they can do their original work. And it's also about creating a policy and culture in the institute. So how original helps? Basically, the moment we introduce original plagiarism detection system, we give a message to the students that they need to write on their own, because anything beyond a certain percentage is not acceptable. And that means that the students will have to develop their own thoughts and ideas, right? Because they just cannot end up copying and pasting. So now if they need their own thoughts, what will happen is they will start being more attentive in class. So first and the easiest way is be more attentive in class and you learn from the class. If they have not been attentive in class, then they need to read on their own. Let's say a student is not attended class or does not pay attention in class, then he needs to go and be more attentive in class, right? He needs to do reading. So he needs to do more reading so that he's able to express on the topic. And lastly, let's assume there is a student who has not attended the class, did not do any reading, and he has to submit his assignment, and it's a one-page assignment. He just has 2 hours to submit his assignment. So what will he do? Obviously, he'll ask his friend, can you just explain me about this topic so that I can write it on my own, instead of copying and pasting your entire assignment. And if he has to do, what it does is essentially, one is he asks someone to teach him. Second is he has also learned about the topic. So we believe by introducing this tool, we can make a difference, because we ensure that students are learning. Now, there are also regulatory requirements both from UGC and AICT, which mandates students to do their original work, and also faculty, academic researcher, anyone who is involved in an education institute. I'm not going to go into detail about policy on plagiarism. I'm just going to cover major aspects of it. It will just give you a very brief overview. So UGC came up with a plagiarism policy for higher education institutes, which was effective 31st of July 2018. It is more for research and PhD purpose, but it has 3 objectives. First is to create awareness about responsible conduct of research, thesis, dissertations, and then promotion of academic integrity and prevention of misconduct in plagiarism. Second is to establish institutional mechanisms through education training. So one of the sessions that we are doing right now, it established that process. And third is to develop systems to detect plagiarism and set up mechanisms to prevent plagiarism from happening, which includes punishing a student, faculty, researcher, or a staff of a higher education for committing the plagiarism. Now, obviously, there are rules which have been laid down, but I think most importantly, both for students and faculty, it's very important that we do not plagiarize, so that we learn and the entire purpose of education gets served. So the higher education institute has certain duties where they need to establish mechanisms and prescribe these regulations, have awareness session done, which ensures that academic integrity is something that students understand about and everyone understands, and they prevent plagiarizing actually. So there are awareness programs and training that needs to be done. So instruction for staff, faculty, and students. Then there should be sensitization seminar or awareness program that should be conducted. And then institutes should have some principles of academicity laid out for both undergraduate, postgraduate. There should be a coursework. There should be a training that should be done for plagiarism detection system. There should be technology available for detecting plagiarism, and everyone should be encouraged to use original work and research. Now, we need to curb plagiarism. So it's about having the right software. It is ensuring everyone has access to that particular software. It is also to ensure that documents are checked through a plagiarism detection tool, and then there should be a policy which should be approved by a required body and should be available on the website. The supervisor, it's a plagiarism is not just a responsibility of a student or of a faculty, it is a combined responsibility of both faculty and student. And then the soft copy should be submitted to implement that's not relevant for the institute, and then institutional repository needs to be created. And then there are certain exceptions to plagiarism, which is basically quoted work, reference bibliographic, and generic terms, laws which are not considered or excluded from plagiarism checking. Then there are certain core areas when you're writing a PhD or a research work, certain core areas where plagiarism is not at all acceptable. These includes basically abstract, summary, hypothesis. Obviously, there's no research without an hypothesis, and you cannot just copy your hypothesis from somewhere else. The observations, results, and conclusions and recommendations. So these areas are where there's a zero tolerance policy on plagiarism. Other areas you can have quoted and reference work, but not in these areas. And then you should exclude anything which is a common knowledge or coincidental term up to 14 consecutive words. So it is maximum of 14 consecutive words, because even common knowledge or coincidental terms greater than 14 words is not something that two of us can write similar, right? Unless we copy and paste. So that's what can be excluded. But it's not, again, I want to repeat, it is not any 14 letter word. It is maximum of 14 letter words. So it may be 5 words, it may be 10 words. So for example, if I search something on internet, it's a 3 word, then I'll see a lot of similarity, right? But the moment if I increase it to a 6 or a 7 word, or if I change a complex combination of words, I'll see the number of similarity reduces. So then there are different levels of plagiarism. So levels up to 10% are acceptable. Similarities up to 10%. Between 10 to 40% is something which is level 1. Level 2 is 40 to 60, and level 3 is above 60. And then there are panels that needs to be created. There is a department academic integrity panel. There is an institutional academic integrity panel which is created. And then the department academic integrity panel is required to submit a recommendations to the institutional academic integrity panel within 45 days, and the decision of institutional academic integrity panel is final and binding. And then obviously there are, if there's a plagiarism that is detected, then it has to be reported to academic integrity panel. The department academic integrity panel will do the investigation. Then authorities will initiate proceedings under these regulations, and then it can also be initiated based on external examiner. And then once it is examined, it is basically recommended to institution academic integrity panel. And then penalties are there for both students and faculty for academic misconduct, and there are different levels of penalty up to 10% no penalty, between 10 to 40% revised manuscript should be submitted within 6 months, 40 to 60 the individual is debarred for submitting a manuscript, and above 60 the registration of the student for that program shall be cancelled for research purpose. And then there are different for repeat plagiarism. Similarly, for academic and research publication, there are different level of penalty, up to 10% no penalty, between 10 to 40, the manuscript needs to be withdrawn, 40 to 60, there is a manuscript that needs to be withdrawn, there is a denial right to 1 increment, then they are not, faculty or supervisor is not allowed to supervise any new master work, and MPhil and PhD scholar for a period of 2 years. Similarly, above 60% manuscript withdrawn, denied rights to 2 increments, and they cannot supervise any MPhil or PhD student for 3 years. So there are different levels of penalty that has been defined actually. And then UGC also came up with a policy on self-plagiarism, where it said that you cannot just keep on doing one piece of work and start continuously express it in your own words multiple times. So you have to not do a text recycle or self-plagiarism, which is using your own work or doing parts of it and publishing it as a different paper. You need to provide right references and quote even if you're using your own work. So these are mainly from a UGC policy. I think from a global university policies, when we look at, we compared from all the top universities in the world and looked at our policies in India and globally, and we say that the focus more on global policies about academic integrity, which also kind of our UGC policy covers about. It's about complete academic integrity, which includes not just doing, plagiarism, but it's also about doing the right thing, doing your own work yourself and all that. It's for all the students and not just focus mainly on research and PhD. It's applicable for every university student. It does not mention a percentage, so it's flexible on percentage and leave it to the judgment of the faculty or the particular coursework or particular topic. And ownership lies with both the student and the faculty. So these were some of our findings from global university. So this is my last and the most favorite slide actually, and as I want to wrap up before, so that we can have a follow, we can do a session on original. So these are three glasses, and I'm not talking about optimism. I'm talking about percentage of plagiarism. So on one side we have 100% plagiarism, the other side we have 0% plagiarism, and we are here in between today between 0 and 100. If we look at our focus is from any topic, any can be actually find more and more plagiarism. So that's our focus. We want to actually focus on finding more and more plagiarism. But if we look at our goal is how do we get to original work? How do we get to a place where we have 0% plagiarism? So we are good that we've got started, and I think eventually our focus and goal will come in the same direction, and we shall be basically able to get more results, I think, and address plagiarism in higher education institute and be able to impart quality of education, improve the quality of education. So that is all I had to say. I think the follow-up session is by Preeti Madam, and she'll talk about taking you through original. I think we have a few questions here as well. So I can just briefly, I'll try to address it, and then we can get to the session on how original can be used, and then if there are further questions, I can take it towards the end. There are other tools available also. Free plagiarism software have their limitations actually. How much plagiarism is acceptable in good research paper? As I said, it completely depends. But if you look at most of the policies, less than 10% actually. If I write something somebody else already wrote, but I didn't know, it's still plagiarism. See, it's a very good question, right? Everyone will not come up with completely original thoughts and ideas. But when everyone is expressing it, it is very rarely that people will use the same set of words actually to end up copying and pasting. So you may not have that situation very often. It is an exceptional situation. Now, there are times when certain percentage is allowed. Is it right to do so? Yeah, obviously, the plagiarism percentage depends on topic. So if I give my students an assignment on do a study on Porter's 5 forces model, so obviously you will refer to all that Michael Porter had talked about competitive advantage, competitive strategy, and all that, right? So you will end up copying it. And then how this is there easy access to information, but how just copy keywords and consolidating content? Yeah, that exactly is what plagiarism is and what we define. But if you end up copying and put the right references, it is completely okay actually. Next question is, what is the maximum allowable and not allowable extent of plagiarism? So as I said, it completely varies from topic to topic. As per UGC policy for research and publication, it is 10% that is acceptable. But then from an MBA student and curriculum course perspective, I'll completely say that it varies upon what assignment you're giving. Our permissible limits vary according to academic institution, particularly institutional layer. Yeah, so as every institute or university can create their own percentages of plagiarism and create their own policy on plagiarism, and they can define that. I think percentage is a subjective matter, but then UGC document is already there, which should be the binding document that we should look at. Can we fix our own benchmark for assignments to student and research activity for faculty members? Perfectly. I think it is completely to the faculty who's giving the assignment, who's giving the project work, and based on the objective of the teaching and the learning that is required, it should be done. Now, the last question is, can you throw some light on serious penalty on an institute where it is actionable accountability on institute as per the Indian Penal Code? If you have some information, share. So there have been action that has been taken, and before the UGC policies were there, basically these issues were getting into the court. But now that is not required because there is a department academic integrity panel, there is a institutional academic integrity panel, which is created, and these committees are required to do the needful. Now, I think we have got started there. I think it's a journey that as a company, as individuals, as institutions, we need to cover. And gradually, when we started way back in 2008-9, there was a limited awareness, and this has significantly increased about plagiarism, and we will gradually get there where we want to be in terms of addressing plagiarism. So with that, I'll stop my session now. If there are more questions, I can take it up to the end, and I'll now leave it up to Preeti Madam to basically talk about how original can be used in the institutions.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for giving such a great insight onto plagiarism. Honorable Director, sir, Santosh, sir, ma'am, and the faculty members, Lalita ma'am, the faculty members, as well as the students. I welcome you all to this session on original, and I would like to extend my appreciation for giving us this chance to take all of you through original today. So I would just start sharing my screen and we can get ahead. I hope my screen is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So, Sir has already briefed us onto plagiarism, and I would like to take you through original. So, just some unique features on original. The first one is that monitoring with original is easy. It means before we start creating the accounts for the faculty members, we have the option to bifurcate. Yes, sir?
Ma'am, I think directors have wanted to talk about a few things, so if we can just.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, can you hear me, Preeti ji
Yes,
and
sir.
Prakash?
Yes.
Yeah, Prakash ji, thank you so much for adding. You have almost covered everything conceptually on the plagiarism. I just wanted to tell my students and faculty members, they must be thinking that I mean, it may be, very very important for the research scholars or those who are doing MPhil or PhD, but it is equally, let me tell you, it is equally important for the PG students, those who are undergoing their postgraduate diploma in management in various B schools. Let me tell you, my dear students, we also have the similar type of restrictions being imposed by AICTE and the Ministry of Education, Government of India, to take on the plagiarism. Okay, the plagiarism on various reports the students are submitting, their term projects, their summer internship project, their dissertation, the final research project, which we say that we also have the similar type of guidelines for all of us to check your original content. If we do not do this, the what kind of penalties are there for us? The penalties are very, very. Let me tell you, it's going to be very huge for us. Okay, you must be knowing that the institutes are being accredited by different bodies like NBA, like AIU, like the AICTE, or there are certain NAC by UGC, or there are certain foreign accreditation processes, international accreditation processes. In all the accreditation processes, let me tell you, my dear students, there is a fixed component of marks which has been dedicated for the institute to check on plagiarism. Okay, maybe 10%, 10 to 20% marks are dedicated to check whether the institute is checking the plagiarism of students' reports, students' dissertation or term projects or not, right? So why I'm intended to tell this thing to all of you, that the institute is also going to impose these restrictions to all of you, that minimum, like Prakash was saying, that minimum 10% is going to be acceptable, but in institutions like B schools, okay, what we do normally, that we allow, I mean, minimum 10 to 25%, but beyond 25%, the student will again ask to rewrite the content. There are very interesting questions being asked by students, which has been answered by Prakasi. One was that how do we know that somebody has already written this and I'm not going to write this? Let me tell you, my dear students, if somebody has written this and it has been published, then you need to be very, very careful about it. If it has not been published, then you may not be knowing it, you may rewrite it. But when you go for plagiarism check, that is not going to be detected at all, right? But I mean, above all these things, I know whether, I mean, to be very honest, if I keep my academic integrity within me, I know particularly that how much content I have borrowed it from others, how much content I have copied it from others, how much content I have given a serious thought onto it, and I have written on myself. So that you need to check about it, right? So do not be in a false state of mind that in B school it is not so important. But let me tell you, it is the equal importance. We do also going to restrict on you when you go for your summer internship project and your final research project in second year. Make sure that you all go through the plagiarism test before you submit your report to faculty member. Okay, this is what I just wanted to tell students. Okay, because I already told you that gone are those days when we could not check it. Okay, I remember one instance. I'll take Preeti ji for 2 minutes if you allow me. Okay, I remember my PhD days while I was doing my PhD in IIT Roorkee. Okay, one day I was sitting with my faculty. I will not name it. Okay, do not ask the name of the paper or title of the paper. So incidentally, we got through, we got an article which was published in 1988. Okay, 1988, that article was published into a very, very top-notch, journal, you can say. Okay, then one book we have gone through, which was been recently published during my PhD time. Okay, so again, I'll ask you not to ask me the time. Okay, and surprisingly, let me tell you, I mean, we were really surprised, myself and my guide, what we found. The book which has been published, I mean, it was early 2000. Okay, and the article which was published in 1988 were exactly the same. Okay, and the book, I'm not going to tell you the name, which has been written by one of the top notch with whom we respect. I mean, in the areas of academics. And that day I got to know, I mean, seriously, I mean, this plagiarism has opened the door for others to see, at least to give the serious thought on your originality. Okay, you may copy something, but you give a proper acknowledgement. I said inverted comma or quote unquote. Okay, if you do that, then you are not seriously into the problem. But yes, if you are copying my content, if you do not acknowledge me, okay, I may take you to this quote. I may take you to the past. Let me tell you, this happens. This happened in the past. This is going to happen, my dear students. Okay, so I'm just curious to address this thing to students. Over to you, Preeti. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Sir, I hope the screen is visible.
Yes.
Thank you. So I was taking you through the unique features of original. The first one is monitoring with original is easy. It means before we start creating the accounts for the faculties as well as the students, we have the option to bifurcate the institute on the basis of the department or on the basis of their subjects. Up to 2 levels of hierarchy, we can create organization level such that we are able to keep a track on the number of submissions done by each organization level. At the same time, we can ensure that the product is being used uniformly across the entire institution. Now, we can also create individual faculty accounts as well as the accounts for the students, such that the students can submit the document directly to the faculty members. This way, the faculties as well as the students are able to maintain a log of all the submissions that have been done. A very important feature of original is that it avoids false positive reports, because none of the faculty members in an authentic situation are interested in going through a report that has a lot of false positives. False positive reports clutters the report to such an extent that it becomes meaningless to use original. At the same time, there can be an increased risk of wrongly accusing the students of plagiarizing. False positive reports can be time consuming. They can lead to undetected cases of plagiarism. This is the reason why the system avoids false positive reports and provides us with true similarity percentages. An equally important feature of original is that it supports multiple Indian languages. Over 30 languages are being supported, including Hindi, Sanskrit, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, Marathi, Bengali, Urdu, etc. The only thing that we need to keep in mind while uploading a document in regional languages, that regional language documents need to be uploaded in Unicode such that the system reads it and provides us with the true report. So if I talk about Hindi documents need to be uploaded either in Mangal font or in Arial Unicode MS such that the system reads it and provides us with the report. Our system is also not available for sale to ghostwriters or to cheaters. We simply sell to institutions as well as to universities, because we are all aware that ghostwriting or contract cheating is a serious issue whereby the original content has not been written by the concerned person. It is being written by the ghostwriter who provides the contract essay along with the similarity report. But since original is not available for sale to ghostwriters, that is why it does not give ghostwriters the possibility to deliver similarity report from original along with the contract essay. Hence, it becomes harder for them to sell to students at universities which are using original. This is the reason why we sell to institutions and to universities so that we can contribute our bit to improve the quality of research. Original as a tool is extremely easy to use. Basically, in this slide, we are able to see there are two characters. One is a submitter and the other is a receiver. As the name suggests, submitter is a person who can submit the document and receiver is a person who can receive the analysis report. So the account that is being created for the students is the submitter account, and under that they would be able to upload the document. The moment the document has been uploaded, they would receive a system generated confirmation email. After this, the document is being scanned for similarity and a similarity score is being generated. The next step is that the report is being shared with the receiver, who is then able to analyze the report. So here the account that is being created for the faculty members and the research supervisors is the receiver account. It would enable them to upload the document as well as receive the report. However, the submitters or the students are able to upload the document only. The system would directly share the report with the receiver. However, the students would not get access to the report through the system, but the receivers are able to share the report with the students if they think it is important. So original model enables that the faculties can have individual accounts such that the students can submit the document directly to the faculty members, achieving the purpose of addressing plagiarism. I would now like to take you through the technical details of original. We would be talking about receiver or the faculty registration process, followed by the student or submitter registration process. The next would be the modes by which we access original, along with it, the ways by which we are able to upload a document. I would also like to take you through a detailed original report, and last but not the least would be handling duplicates or managing multiple submissions. So the receiver registration process is divided into two parts. The first step is to send a request to the institute coordinator for registering someone as an original receiver, and the moment the account has been created by the coordinator, the concerned person would receive an email like this from noreply@original.com. In this email, I'm able to see that a unique analysis address has been generated. So each and every faculty member that has been registered onto original would be provided with a unique analysis address, and any document that I want to upload has to be sent as an attached file to this particular analysis address only. Now, this analysis address is connected to my registered email. So reports, once they are ready, would be sent to our registered email ID. Apart from this, we also have a personal web-based inbox where we can receive the original report, and to use the inbox, I need to be activating it via the account activation link, which is visible here at the bottom. Once I click onto this activation link, I'm supposed to enter in a few details like my name, password, etc. And the moment you click on create, you would get a notification that the registration process has been completed. The next is logging on to original.com. So here we are at original.com, in which right top side we have a login option. Once you click on to login, the system takes you to the next page, in which we'll click here login to the web inbox global. After clicking here, you are supposed to enter in the username and the password. And in case if you wanted to log in with your email ID and password, the system would also allow you to log in with your email ID and password. And once we click on to sign in, the system would take me to the new web inbox. This is how the web inbox looks like, in which left top side I'm able to see there's a button called create and upload, using which I can upload the files, and here I'm able to see the names of all the documents, apart from it the name of the submitter. You would also be able to see a percentage sign here. This percentage signifies the percentage copied found in the uploaded document, and this can range anything between 0% to 100%. 0% would signify that no part of the document has been copied from any source, and 100% would signify that the entire document is a copy. Just beside this, we are able to see there's a document reference number. Any document that has been uploaded onto original would be provided with a unique document reference number, and whenever we are trying to coordinate with the support team regarding any query, I request you to kindly share the document reference number so that we are able to look into the query. And we are also able to see the date and time of upload, and when I scroll down at the right bottom side, we will be able to see the analysis address that has been generated. You could also log on to the old portal, and the process goes the same. Now, let me take you through the submitter registration process. The submitter registration process also goes the same as that of receiver registration process. Here also a request needs to be sent to the institute coordinator for registering someone as a submitter, and the moment the account has been created, the concerned person would receive an email from noreply@original.com, and in this email there's an activation link. Please be noted that this link works only for 96 hours. In case if you're unable to activate the link within 96 hours, then you need to get in touch with the original coordinator or with the support team at support@egalactic.in so that a new link can be shared. So once the link has been clicked on, we need to enter in the details. And the moment you click on to create, the system would give you a notification that the registration process has been completed. Logging on to the submitter portal is the same. We would log on to original.com. At the login prompt, we would enter in the username and the password. And the moment I click on to login, the system would take me to my submitter portal. In this portal, we are able to see the document reference number, name of the document, the details of the document, as well as the document log. However, the percentage sign is not visible here because the report is not being shared directly with the submitter. The next is the modes by which we access original. So there are three ways by which we can access original. The first one is accessing original using the email. So our email account is linked to a unique analysis address. So any document that we want to upload has to be sent as an attached file to this particular analysis address using my email. The moment we upload a particular document, we would receive a system-generated confirmation email that a particular document has been uploaded. Later on, once the report has been generated, again you would receive an email stating that the report is ready. The next one is accessing original using the web portal. So we can also log in through the web portal as we discussed in the previous slide. And the third one is learn through learning management system. Since original can be integrated with an LMS, we can also access original using the learning management system. There are three ways basically by which we upload a particular document. The first one is document upload using my email, and the process to upload the document using our email is similar to sending a mail to a particular person, with the only difference that instead of the email ID, I need to be typing in the analysis address. So here I am at the compose box on my registered email ID, and in this box, the first detail that I need to enter is a valid analysis address. After that, I would enter in the subject as well as message, and the moment you click on to send, document would be uploaded using my email. Immediately after you have uploaded the document using the email, you would receive a system-generated confirmation email that a particular document has been uploaded. The next is uploading the document using the new web inbox. So here we are at the web inbox. We would click on to create and upload, and then I need to click on to upload files. After this, the system would ask me to attach in the document for similarity check, and the moment the document has been attached, I need to be entering in these details. So the first detail is entering in a valid analysis address. In case if you've been registered as a receiver, we can select the analysis address from the drop-down menu. However, if you have been registered as a submitter, I need to type in the analysis address of the concerned faculty to whom I wish to upload the document. Followed by this, I need to be entering in the subject as well as the message. And the moment you click on to upload file, you would be able to see there's a pop-up on the screen which says file upload started. There would be another pop-up that would say file upload completed. So this is how it looks like. And once upload started as well as upload completed, once both the pop-ups vanish from the system, we are able to see the file upload status by clicking here. This is the show file progress option. And once I click here, I'm able to see the name of the document as well as the status being mentioned as completed. And this signifies that the document has been uploaded successfully. Moreover, I'm able to see the name of the document reference number, as well as the date and time of upload. And this signifies that the document was uploaded successfully. And the third way by which we upload document is using the learning management system. Now, once the document has been uploaded, the next would be accessing in the report. So the ways by which we are able to access report, the first one is the report link would be received on the receiver's registered email from noreply@original.com. And in this email at the bottom part, there's the link to open up the report. The moment we click onto this link, the report would open up in a new page. The second way to access the report is selecting in a particular document here and clicking onto the open report option here. So after you have selected the document, you can click on to open report. And once you click on to open report, the report would open up in a new page for you. And in case if you're trying to access the open up the report using the old web inbox, you need to click onto the percentage sign. taking you through a detailed sample report here. So this is a sample report. In this report, we are able to see there's a document overview bar. So this part is the document overview bar. In this part, I'm able to see certain parts being highlighted in orange and others in purple. Those parts which were highlighted in orange would signify that some kind of matching text has been found, and other parts being highlighted in purple would signify that some kind of warning has been generated. So in case if you wanted to see the details of any particular matching block of text, you could click onto any highlight, and the moment you click onto any highlight, the system would show you a snippet of the matching text or an explanation of the warning. I'm able to see number of words which were found in this particular matching text. Apart from this, I'm also able to see the name of the particular source from where similarity was found. This is the link to the original source. You would also be able to see the type of source. So W stands for website, J stands for journal, T stands for textbook, and S stands for student assignment. Apart from this, there's an option called include an analysis. If the subject matter expert thinks that this particular highlight need not have been included in the report, we can uncheck this highlight, and once we have unchecked it, we would be able to see that the similarity score has been estimated. We also have a view details option here. In case if you wanted to further see more details, maybe a side-by-side comparison, you could click onto view details, and this is how you would be able to do a side-by-side comparison of this particular matching block of text. In the same way, if you wanted to see the explanation of the warning, you could click onto the purple highlight, and here we are able to see which parts of the document contain warning. By warning, I mean something abnormal has been found in the document, maybe some different script or writing system has been used, maybe some abnormally longer words have been used, because of which the system has generated a warning. Now here we have a findings tab using which you would be able to see the details. In case if you wanted to see the details of the matching block of text, you could click onto this icon here. In case if you wanted to see the details of the warning, you could click onto the warning option here. However, if you wanted to go through the entire document and not go through the warnings as well as the matching block of text, you could click on to view the entire document, and once you click here, you would be able to see the entire report. Now we also have similarity bars here. So basically the system displays two similarity percentage. The first similarity shows the percentage of similarity found in this particular document. So 79% similarity has been found in this document. Apart from it, we also have another percentage, and this percentage signifies the average similarity of all the submitted documents to this particular receiver. We also have submission details tab, whereby you will be able to see the name of the file, date and time of submission, submission ID, words, message, etc. In case if you wanted to download the document that was uploaded for similarity check, you could simply click here and the document would be downloaded. Now taking you through the three tabs of the report. So once we click onto matching block of text, this is how the system would bring here us. And we are able to see there are three tabs. The first one is the findings tab, the second is the sources tab, and the third one is the entire document tab. So the best part about the findings tab is that we are able to do a side-by-side comparison. Left side would be our uploaded document and right side would be the matching source text. So this way you are able to do a side-by-side comparison under the findings tab. In the findings tab also we have types option. In case if you wanted to go through the details of the matching block of text, you could click onto orange icon. In case if you wanted to go through the details of the warning, you could click onto warnings here, and here we are able to see that this is an abnormally longer word, because after each word in this sentence a particular character X has been introduced, so that the sentence has become an abnormally longer word. So if these instances are there, maybe some different script or writing system has been used. For example, letter O, letter P, letter S, etc. have been written in different script. So this practice is termed as homoglyph. So in these cases, the system would be generating a warning. And under this, we are able to see under the findings tab, we would be able to see side-by-side comparison as well as the show in text or toggle buttons are here. So the first option, that is the quotes option. In case if you wanted to see those parts of the document that were put within quotes, you can enable this option. And once you have enabled this option, the parts of the document that were put within quotes would be highlighted in gray color. There is a brackets option here. In case if you wanted to see those parts of the document that were put within brackets, you can simply enable this option here. And the moment you have enabled this option, the parts of the document that were put within brackets would be highlighted in blue color. And the third one is the detailed text differences. In case if you wanted to see basically the detailed text difference option brings to our notice the exact difference between our uploaded document as well as the matching source text. In case you wanted to see the exact difference here, we can enable the option show detailed text differences. And once this option has been enabled, we would be able to see certain paths being highlighted in pink and others in yellow. So this is how it looks like here. There are certain paths which are being highlighted in orange and others in pink. Those paths which were highlighted in yellow would signify that these words have been modified or changed, and other paths being highlighted in pink would signify that these words have been deleted. So the exact difference is brought to your notice if you have enabled the option show detailed text differences. Now, apart from the overall similarity percentage, that is 66% similarity, for example, here it is 79% similarity, the system also brings to our notice individual similarity percentage for each block of text. So for example, here if I just go through this matching block of text, 98% similarity has been found here. There's also an option called include in analysis. So if the subject matter expert thinks that certain parts of that certain matching block of text need not have been included in the report, maybe because it was put within quotes, it was properly referenced, it was a definition, it was a law in or something like that. For example, this particular matching block of text, the entire content was put within quotes. If you think that it should not have been included in the report, we can uncheck the toggle button, and the moment we have unchecked the toggle button, we would be able to see that the similarity score has been recalculated from 79% to 75%. And also this particular matching block of text is no longer being included in the report. So if the subject matter expert thinks certain paths can be manually deactivated. Now at the bottom of this page of each matching block of text, you would be able to see the name of that particular source. This is actually the link to the original source, and you are able to also see the type of source. So W stands for website, J for journal, T for textbook, and SA for student assignment. So this is the link to the primary source. There's also something mentioned here as alternative sources. Basically, when a particular document has been scanned for similarity, the system would find multiple sources in which similar content was found. However, the system would highlight just one source based on the ranking of our algorithm, and that particular source is the primary source. But the other sources in which similar content was found would be kept as matching or as alternative overlapping sources. In case if we wanted to go through the details of the alternative source, we can click here at the bottom at alternative sources, and once we have clicked here at the bottom, the system would show us the details of the alternative source text, and these sources are bundled in what we call as level. You can expand the level to see which sources are into it. You can select a particular level of source, ideally level 1 of source, and the moment you click on to save and continue, we would be able to see that this particular matching block of text is no longer being compared against the primary source. It is being compared against the alternative source, and hence the similarity score has been recalculated. And apart from this, there's also an instance whereby we are unable to see the matching source text. Ideally, this is how it looks like. Left side, we are able to see our own work, and right side, we are able to see the matching source text. But many a times, you are unable to see the matching source text. Instead, the system writes here, the document has been exempted as a viewable source in the Urkun archive by the author. So when we upload a particular document, we would receive a confirmation email. In that email, there is a link using which we can exempt the document. So let us say I had uploaded a particular document and I had exempted my document. Next time, if someone else has uploaded a document in which some similarity was found with respect to my previously uploaded document, in that case, the system would not show even a line or a paragraph of my work in the concerned person's report. The concerned person's report would look something like this. Left side, he would be able to see his own work, but right side, the content of my work would not be visible in the report because the document was exempted. Now, we also have the findings bin here. Basically, when we have selected an alternative source, the primary source would be sent to the bin. Later on, if you think that the primary source should be considered for similarity check, you can access the primary source, and the moment we click on to restore, we would be able to see that the document is now being compared against the primary source and not against the alternative sources. And after this, we have the second tab, that is the sources tab. We have the profile menu here. So profile menu is visible here at the right top side, whereby we have option to enable quotes, to enable brackets, to show detailed text difference. There's also an option to export report. That means converting the report onto PDF and downloading onto our system. We have a share analysis report option. In case if I wanted to share the report with someone, I simply need to enter in my email ID and click on send, and the moment I click on send, the link of this particular report would be shared with the concerned person. The second tab here is the sources tab, and under this tab we are able to see the sources that we found in the entire report, and this is the list of the sources. These are the link to the sources. In case if you wanted to go through the details of these particular source, you could click onto this particular source link here and you would be able to access the source. And we are also able to see the type of sources here, so names of source as well as type. So it could be highlighted as website, W for website, J for journal, and SA for student assignment. It means those documents which have been previously uploaded onto original and have been saved onto original's archive. We also have location in document. In case if you wanted to see at which part was similarity found against this particular source, you can click onto this matching highlight and you can do a side-by-side comparison. We also have alternative sources here. As we discussed that when a particular document is being scanned for similarity, the system finds multiple sources in which the content was there. However, the system would highlight just one source based on the ranking of our algorithm, and that particular source is termed as the primary source. The other sources in which similar content was found would be kept as alternative overlapping sources. If you think that your document need not have been compared against the primary source, it needs to be compared against the alternative source. In that case, we can click onto the downward arrow key and we can uncheck the primary source. The moment we uncheck the primary source, the system would ask us whether the document needs to be compared against the alternative overlapping sources. We can select the level of source, and once we click and save and continue, we are able to see that this particular document is now being compared against alternative sources and not primary sources, and the similarity score has been recalculated. There's also a missing source tab here. In case if you think that a particular source has been undetected, in that case, you could place the URL of the missing undetected source here and you could click on to send, such that the particular source is being indexed by the technical team. And the last tab that we are able to see is the entire document here. Here you would be able to see the entire document in its entirety here. All the findings are highlighted. If the highlights are in orange, it signifies it's a matching source text. If the highlights are in purple, it would signify it's a warning. In case if you wanted to do a side-by-side comparison, you could click onto this matching highlight, and once we have clicked onto this highlight, we would be able to do the side-by-side comparison. At this particular point of time, we should enable the option show detailed text differences so that we don't miss anything important. For example, I'm able to see there are words highlighted in yellow and red. The words highlighted in yellow were the ones that were changed, and those highlighted in red were the ones that were deleted. So by clicking on to next, next, and next, we are able to do a side-by-side comparison. In the same way, if we wanted to go through the details of the warning, we could click onto the purple highlight, and once we click here, we would be able to see the details of the warning. So this is how we read and understand a report. And just taking you through the last and an equally important part, that is handling duplicates. So basically, when we upload a particular document onto original, it is saved onto the repository by default. Next time, if we upload the modified version of the document, the system would compare it with the previously uploaded document, and we would get a high percentage of similarity. This in our language we term as duplicates. And there are three ways by which we can handle this situation. The first one is submission from the same submitter account to the same receiver account, and this way we are able to avoid duplicates. So when a particular document, let's say document 1, was submitted from submitter 1 account to receiver 1 account, later on another document, that is document 2, was submitted from the same submitter account to the same receiver account. In that case, the second document would not be compared with the first document, because the system understands that it is the student's own work, and hence duplicates would be totally avoided. So when the document is being submitted from the same submitter account to the same receiver account, in that case the document would not be compared with the previously uploaded document, and hence we are able to avoid duplicates totally. This was one way by which we are able to avoid duplicates. However, please be noted that submitter account and receiver account need to have been created with two different email IDs and not the same email ID. The second one is removing sources of earlier document submission. In case if we had uploaded a particular document and we got a very high percentage of similarity, because the system had compared the document against my previously uploaded document. In that case, what we can do is we can uncheck the previously uploaded document that is reflecting as a primary source here. So in this report, when we are going through this report, I'm able to see that maximum similarity has been found from this particular source, which is my own work. In that case, I can uncheck the primary source. The moment I have unchecked the primary source, the system would ask me whether the document needs to be compared with alternative overlapping sources. I can expand the level to see which sources are into it. I can select the level of source, and once I click on to save and continue, I would be able to see that the document is now being compared against the alternative source, not against the primary source, and that is why the similarity score has been recalculated. From 85%, it has come down to 50%. And in case if you wanted to use this report, we can click onto the downward arrow key, that means export analysis report as PDF. And once you click here, the report would be converted onto PDF and it would be downloaded onto our system, and we are able to use the report. And the third way by which we can handle duplicates is deletion of documents that can be done by the original coordinator or by the support team. In case if you had uploaded a document and you wanted to get the document deleted, you can send the document reference number to the original coordinator or to the support team at support@egalactic.in, and we would be able to delete the document permanently from the repository. Next time if you upload the modified version, the system would no longer compare it with the previously uploaded document, because the previously uploaded document is not a part of the repository anymore. So these are the three ways by which we are able to handle duplicates. And with this, I would like to wrap up for today. In case if there are any queries, we can take them up. Later on, if you face any difficulty, please feel free to write to us at support@egalactic.in, or you could give us a call between Monday to Friday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at 84120-02525. Thank you so much for your time and your patience. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, there's one question from Anirudh Sharma. As a student, to have a quality work in reports or projects, we are tend to move to refer different data through Google or refer different books. The points we select remain the same no matter what we write under those points. So will that be also come under plagiarism?
Sir?
So basically, good question, Kanika. So when you copy and paste, right, what is the tool doing? The tool will show you similarity. So right, if you exactly copy and paste the same thing, the tool will show it as a similarity. Okay. Now, if for that particular topic, if it is allowed that you can copy and paste the content, so it will work efficiently. But if it is not allowed, then you are not required to. So for students, what you need to do then is, if you are copying and pasting exactly what it is, you need to ensure that you are rightly quoting it and putting the right references there. Okay, so that it is clearly visible that it is copied and pasted. Alternate way is to paraphrase it. Paraphrase is when you express it in your own words, actually. Right? So depending on how much you have to copy, you have to ensure that you are doing the right thing. But tool will find all similarities if you are copying and pasting.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. So I would.
Priti ma'am, Priti ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, am I audible, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Priti ma'am, I have a request actually what the process you discussed regarding the plagiarism. Can you please share with our librarian, Miss Lalita Tyagi, so that we can share with all the students?
Yes, sir.
Is it possible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. We have individual PDFs on each of the topics, and we would be sharing that with Lalita ma'am once the session.
Yeah. Right. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks.
Thank you.
Kanika, please.
Yes. Now I would like to request Miss Lalita ma'am to please give a vote of thanks to our guest speakers.
Thank you, Kanika. Respected guests for today's training, Mr. Prakash Sarda and Ms. Preeti Rathi, respected Director Sir, honorable faculty and students. It is a great honor to propose vote of thanks to all who have helped us making this seminar a very resounding success. First of all, I would like to give my hearty vote of thanks to the speakers, Mr. Prakash Sarda and Ms. Preeti, for making an excellent presentation and making this training very meaningful and interesting. We all are very clear about plagiarism and how original can be used to address plagiarism. I would like to express our deep gratitude to the Director Sir, Dr. Tapan Kumar Nayak, for his presence in this seminar. I would like to thank all the participants for this event. It is your ability that made this training a very successful one. Dear students, never give up until you achieve your dreams. Dreams big and go for it as long as you can. Success is only for those who work hard and run till the end. And today's training would definitely help you to get aware of plagiarism and how to avoid it altogether. Thank you, respected Director Sir, our guest for today's training, and faculty and colleagues. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Prakash ji. Thank you,
Thank you,
Priti.
sir.
Thank you, Prakash sir. Thank you, Priti.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.